In June 2025, tragedy struck near Ahmedabad airport when Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner bound for London, crashed soon after takeoff. Carrying 242 souls on board, the plane lost lift at around 650 feet, issued a mayday call, and within 30 seconds, it descended into a medical college hostel below, erupting into a massive ball of fire. This was India's deadliest aviation disaster in nearly 3 decades, with nearly 260 lives lost, including 19 on the ground, and just 1 survivor from the aircraft. The aircraft, registration VT-ANB, was a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner. 11 years old, powered by GE engines, it was delivered in January 2014 and had logged over 8,000 flight hours. On that fateful afternoon, it carried 230 passengers, mostly Indian and British nationals, and 12 crew members. At 13:39 IST, after takeoff, the aircraft stalled, didn't climb as expected, and its landing gear remained in the down position. In roughly 17 seconds, it began losing altitude until it crashed. On board, only 1 life remained, a British passenger sitting near an emergency exit. Rescue teams rushed to the site. Local firefighters, police, National Disaster Response Force units, and medical staff helped extract the lone survivor and recover victims from the wreckage. Authorities identified 259 of the nearly 260 victims, using DNA analysis and visual IDs. Air traffic control shut down operations briefly, and the Prime Minister visited the crash site. Meanwhile, mental health experts raised concerns about the national trauma, with many travelers now developing anxiety and sleep issues. Initial findings zeroed in on engine thrust, flap configuration, and landing gear. Did the gear remain stuck? Was there a flap malfunction? Nighttime conditions and full fuel tanks might have reduced lift. Preliminary CCTV and radar show the aircraft maintained altitude for just a few seconds before descending with its tail angled downward. No smoke was visible, suggesting the engines failed to provide enough thrust, not a fire or explosion. Authorities grounded Air India's Boeing 787 fleet for safety inspections. All remaining Dreamliners underwent checks for takeoff parameters and flight control systems. Black boxes are central to understanding why. Both flight data and cockpit voice recorders were recovered and are with India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. Their memory modules have been decoded, allowing playback of engine data, cockpit conversations, and the final 30 seconds of flight. Indian, US, and UK investigators are collaborating on a full analysis. Though no lead investigator was yet appointed, officials expect preliminary findings within 3 months. Data could also be shared with US agencies if needed. In response, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation issued audits of Air India. They reviewed pilot training records, including those of Captain Sabharwal and First Officer Kunda, as well as dispatcher procedures. A DGCA team began a full annual safety audit of Air India, citing past violations like crew scheduling and expired emergency equipment checks. Reliance on 787S continued, with no grounding notice, but stricter compliance and inspections were mandated. Air India leadership pledged to overhaul operational safety and ramp up transparency. The Dreamliner's safety record until then had been solid. This crash marked its first fatal hull loss in 14 years. Yet it reopened scrutiny over past issues, including battery fires in 2013 and quality control concerns. The incident shook confidence in Boeing, whose stock dropped significantly. Investors are watching how regulators, airlines, and manufacturers respond, not just to this crash, but to ensure future Dreamliners remain safe. As investigators dig deeper, key questions remain. What failed at takeoff? Pilot error, mechanical trouble, or both? Will global regulators ground Dreamliners? And can India's aviation framework withstand this test? The crash is a turning point for Air India, Boeing, and India's aviation oversight. If lessons are learned and reforms implemented, air travel could emerge safer. But if corners are cut, this tragedy may echo for generations. This landmark tragedy demands systemic reflection from airlines, manufacturers, and regulators alike.
I'm sure you've heard the news. It's time to take action. Smash that like, share with friends, and subscribe for more. Cheers.